Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Kayleigh McEnany absolutely wrecks the career of fake journalist Jim Acosta with his greatest hits compilation. This should make him rethink his entire profession. Let's dive in.
Well, CNN's Jim Acosta claims that the role of journalists, which not sure what he'd know about that, is to, quote, seek the truth and be, quote, defenders of the people.
Journalists exist to seek the truth, to tell people's stories, to lift up voices that may not be heard otherwise, to shine a light on injustice, and to hold the powerful accountable. We are not the enemy of the people. We are the defenders of the people. A woman sent me this sign 8 years ago. She carried it here at a march in Washington. She wrote on the back of the sign, to me and the press here in D.C., you have our support. To Nora, wherever you are, right back at you.
Well, if he really means that, then he would know that includes Americans, even Trump supporters. Now, let me remind you, this is the same Jim Acosta who openly expresses his contempt for President-elect Trump. I remember challenging him when I was White House press secretary. Let's go back in history.
He is trying to pass a Muslim ban in this country.
That's an absurd attempt to justify the misleading headlines that are regularly on your network.
Are you saying that the president
Gotta let me finish,
this
Jim. This isn't a cable news segment. I'm answering your question right now from the White House podium. And it's appalling. You have one person on your network saying that this is a celebration in the streets, a carnival-like atmosphere. There's a guy with a sign that says free hugs. You celebrate hugging in the context of a protest, but in a Trump rally, that rally's not allowed because guess what, Jim? It doesn't fit the ideological agenda of CNN. Peter Alexander. Moving on, and if the media's job is to really seek the truth, why did they do this anytime concerns about Biden's mental fitness were brought up?
This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
He's as sharp as a tack.
Anybody, any aide who engages with him or reporters, we can see this. The gears of his mind are working.
And Joe Scarborough just tried to clean up his part in all of it.
I spent, as I've said before, 2.5, 3 hours with Joe Biden in the White House, all over the White House, talking at length and in depth about foreign policy matters, and he was as sharp as anybody else I've spoken to, and spoke actually like a man who's been doing this since he was 29 years old, and new world leaders. Was he slower physically? Yes. Did he occasionally jumble a few words or a few names? Yes. But he corrected those as well. So after 2.5, 3 hours of it with him in the White House, going all over the White House, I did not see that.
Wow, he never saw it. Well, if this is how the liberal media covered Biden, we can only wonder how they will cover a second Trump presidency.
These folks, quite literally, their whole goal has been to run point and do the impossible, and that is prop up a regime that isn't built on anything. There's a great story that Mike Johnson has shared very recently where he and Joe Biden were alone for a little while. He asked for some people to clear the room. They wanted to talk about some foreign policy stuff, and it was apparently top secret or something along those lines. And before he launched into his main questions, Mike Johnson did ask, well, why did you shut off the LNGs, that is liquefied natural gas? Why did you shut off that exploration in the United States? And Biden just gave him this blank stare of, son, what are you talking about? Biden had no idea what he had actually signed. He thought that he was signing some exploratory bill that would seek other alternatives or seek new places to find LNGs, not shut it down completely, which means one of two things. Either Joe Biden knew what happened and lied, even though it was just the two of them in a random room together, and politicians don't usually air out dirty laundry. Usually when you do that, you've kind of broken a sacred trust, but that's become more and more popular recently, although Byron Donalds has done this, Wesley Hunt has done this, and now Mike Johnson. I know from videos that I've seen, so maybe something's shifting in Washington. But for Mike Johnson to share that story where either Joe Biden is lying about what he signed or he doesn't know. See, this backs up my long-held theory that Joe Biden doesn't actually know what he's doing. He still thinks that he is a 1990s Democrat. The last time he's ever had an epiphany was when, let's see, it was either the signing of Obamacare, where he got caught on a hot mic saying this is a big effing deal, or it was right after the Obergefell decision. At least I think it's pronounced Obergefell. I've heard Obergefell as well. But that was the Supreme Court decision that said that gay marriage is now legal across the entire nation. And it was either after the ACA was signed or that decision was reached that Joe Biden whispered, this is a big effing deal. And that's when I think that the Democrat Party really turned a different shade of rainbow here. And that changed their entire culture base for the next 10 years. And only now are they seeing, maybe we pushed this a little bit too far. Maybe the combination of bad policies in Hollywood, bad writing, characters that don't make any sense. Remember 90s characters? Remember when we actually had diversity and the characters worked? They were well written. They made more sense for both kids and adults. We don't have that now. Okay, there's an occasional great show like Arcane that'll take some of these woke concepts, and instead of shoving it down your throat, they just say, look, here's a girl that can absolutely mess you up. Here's how she does it. Okay, I can buy that. But I'm getting off in the weeds here. That's the culture war, and we'll probably be handling that a little bit more later. But what's going on in this segment is that the mainstream media, people like Jim Acosta, people like Joe Scarborough, are running point for an ideology and for a set of policies that they either deep down don't agree with, or they have no choice and someone else is pushing the thumbs on the scales. As Joe Biden has shown himself to be almost completely senile for 3 whole years now. As Alejandro Mayorkas is now telling the world that, hey, I was told to do certain things, and they warned me that if I didn't do them, they'd find someone who would. And it's that terrible conundrum that you'd be in. What happened if you were a guard at a Holocaust camp? Okay? That is a terrible question you might have to ask yourself one day. What if I was in the worst situation, but on the side of evil? How would you respond? Most people, let's be honest here. Most people, if they are on the side of evil, either deny the fact that they are, or they'd engage in it. And I've got a Bonhoeffer book over here that I need to finish reading. And essentially the question is, what happens when good men do nothing? Bonhoeffer did something and he lost his life because of it. I'm not saying that Democrats need to martyr themselves, but you do need to take a page out of John Fetterman's book and have the guts to admit that, hey, the Republicans are right on this one. You should probably work with them. And so the problem is the mainstream media is either being controlled, for lack of better words, which is very possible, so they're trying to push a narrative, or they think that they need to say these things in order to placate their own viewership. Either way, it's an ugly situation. And that's why people like Kayleigh McEnany is just making mincemeat out of these morons who really aren't morons. They actually know what they're doing. See, media types, and I'll finish with this, and I've said this plenty of times before, these media types often tell half-lives. See, the truth is the truth. You can't run from it. But you can shroud it with lies. And half-lies are told by people who have forgotten where they put the truth. Whereas the liars, they know what the truth is. And so I think most of these types are in the camp that they sell half-truths, and they hope that you'll buy it as the truth. That isn't happening anymore. Our media landscape is now too open. The floodgates have been lifted, the veil has been torn, and the truth is going to set us free. And that's what I hope I'll continue to be giving you here on Politibrawl. If you think I'm getting something wrong, please let me know down in the comments. I hate being wrong more than I hate losing. And I hate losing more than I love winning. All right, I'm not just quoting Moneyball. That is my mentality when it comes to this issue. So folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.